Hey, what about halftime, Spud? Now, this was I want you to take people inside the Victorian hub. At halftime, you were being crunched. You were down. It was looking like you were going to get belted. Tell us what you and Tim Watson came up with, along with Dipper. The main tactic for the second half was?
Well, look, Dipper aside, we put Dipper away. He said, go and get the cordial, mate. We couldn't understand Dipper for a start. So me and Tim had a good long chat, and there was a couple of guys in your team, Duck, that were taking it far too serious.
Oh.
And one was Jason Ackermanis, unfortunately. He was all about him. He was smothering, he was tackling.
So what are you saying? You had a chat about him at half time?
Well, we just circled his name.
Well, your coach is on the line as well.
Tim, I was prodded.
Tim, welcome to you. Tim Watson joining us, coach of Victoria.
G'day, boys. How you going?
Spud was just going through the halftime
I wasn't happy with it, Tim. I wasn't happy with the fact that Ackermanis was getting a bit of it. But when you circled his name, I looked around the room, and you've got Jonathan Brown's eyes rolling in the back of his head. You've got Campbell Brown, you've got Barry Hall, you've got Tony Liberatore, and of course one of his ex-teammates, Chrissy Johnson, said, "I want a piece of Ackermanis."
The guy who took on all of Ireland at one time.
Oh, Tim, you wound him up like a top mate. Look, it was outstanding. By the way, your coaching was very humorous, but when the chips were down, I thought you just nailed it with the Ackermanis tactic at half time.
Well, look, thanks, Spud, for that. But look, I couldn't have done it without the help of some of the other players out there. But particularly, Johnson was one of the only players we didn't put up on the board. His job was to go out there and get Acker in the second half. And I've actually just been up all night. You can probably hear my croaky voice. I've been just looking at the tape again and just going over some of the things that we might be able to correct for next year. And one of those things is that I just thought that, Monkey, I wasn't happy. I'll tell you what, I was happy with Monkey's desire. I think his tap work was exceptional. But he defied medical history. He actually created medical history last night. I was speaking to Doc Reed, just getting an injury report this morning, and he was saying that Monkey is the first player in AFL history to actually do his hamstring at half-time eating 3 salad rolls.
By the way, Tim, I have to say thank you, Tim. Unlike you boys, Tim was one of the first guys after we're walking off to come over and console me.
He knew where the cameras were, that's why.
He could see how deeply hurt I was by missing that. He came over and consoled me. So thanks, Tim.
Well, you're happy with the boys to be able to kick straight in the kick-off. Unusual that it would be a draw, Tim, but were you a little concerned?
That was unbelievable. I had to make a late change there. I don't know whether the cameras caught this or not, but Dermot was desperate to be one of the 3 players. So I just decided, having seen some of his execution throughout the course of the game, that he wasn't going to be up to it. And I think the move of the night was probably to substitute Jonathan Brown for him. So, and
the other move of the night was when you and Spud came up with the Favola move to get him out of the commentary box and get him on the ground.
Yeah. Look, I can't take full credit for that. Dipper actually chimed in for the first time last night and made some sense. In fact, it was the only time that we actually understood what he was saying. He said fair. I think it was fair, but I don't know. Maybe it was something else that he was saying. But, he was coughing and spluttering all night there. And look, I've got to say, if there's one change I make, and I haven't consulted the AFL on this yet, so there's other people that I have to consult on this, but I'll be looking at making a couple of changes with the coaching assistants, and I think Dipper's probably had his day.
Hey, Tim, you were forced to spend a lot of time, very close proximity with Spud last night. Surely that's affected you in a long-term perspective?
Spud was outstanding. I've got a full credit to Spud because he made some significant moves in that second. He wouldn't have done that. No, the Hall move was his idea. The one out with Barry Hall. And then we changed up a couple of things in the midfield there for a while too. And then Monkey, who was doing an amazing job in the ruck, the Adelaide people, well, not the Adelaide people, but the All-Stars, they sent their runner to Monkey. This is how smart he is. Their runner went out to him and changed him out of the midfield and took him to full forward. Monkey decided to go with it. So we were completely confused in the coach's box at the time.
Now,
but,
Tim,
we got that right.
The big worry, I went home with a headache, and the big worry for us was the form of Cameron Ling. We were just astonished. Yeah. We tried to put him everywhere, Tim, and look, we couldn't hide him. Basically, what happened with Ling?
Well, he was exposed last night. I was really concerned about it. I decided, I spent a lot of time lot of time preparing for this game, and I thought, look, let's let him off the leash. I think that I thought that he'd been played out of position over the years. I thought that he was a freewheeling type midfielder there. Clearly, last night, unless he's got a superstar taking him to the ball, he's got no idea out there, Lingy. In the end, we had to hide him in the back pocket, and finally we took him off the ground, which was a great relief to us all on the coaching bench.
But I'll tell you what, when you walked into the coach's box last night, Tim, you did look a little bit shaky, a little bit wobbly. Yeah. Obviously, the past skeletons from St Kilda, but by the end of the game, you were like a peacock, mate. I could just see, you know, the back
on his toes, up on his toes.
Yeah, the support you got, obviously, from your staff, and the players responded to your magnificent talks before the game and half-time. Is there a chance you'll dip your toe in the water with the Brisbane job?
Yeah,
because you did feel comfortable.
Well, look, I don't want to give too much away, but I just got off the phone to Swanee.
Very good, Tim. Well done last night. Victoria's coach for a great cause, and you've been heavily involved in this right from the start, so well done to you.
Good on you. Well done to you too, boys.
Yeah, and Tim, just remember that Jason Ackermanis is looking for an apology at some stage from you.
What about the vision of when Chris Johnson went over to apologise, and the two have had a bit of a history, and the apology, Tim, went for about 3 seconds. He wanted nothing of it.
Well, the only reason he went over and apologised, I said, look, you better get out there and apologise to him, so he wasn't actually going to go near him.
Yeah, it was absolutely compelling footage. I thought
it was crickets.
He wasn't happy, Acker.
No, it wasn't. But anyway,
wasn't happy.
He probably took it a little bit serious.
Was he knocked out?
I think he was.
Tim.
Yeah. I think Tim.
Doc Reed ruled him out. He said no, he's concussed.
I did have to put my hand on Tim's lap to say, Tim, stop smiling. The cameras are on us. When Ackermanis went down.
hey, what happens on the coach's bench?
Sorry, Tim. Sorry, mate.
You know that.
Thanks, Tim.
Cheers, boys.
Tim Watson joining us.
It was a ripper.
Yep.
I think the thing about that with the players before the game, BT, he was as funny as I've ever seen anyone.
Yeah.
Before the game and half time, he was absolutely.
He had a real crack at Sam Pang, didn't he? At half time.
Well, he called Sam, I think, the orchid, and I thought, where's he going with this one? And an orchid is everything has to be perfect for the orchid to grow,
right?
So
for it to flower,
and of course Sam was pinging instead of panging on him,
and he said to him, Sam, what more can I do for you? I've played you in every position where you can get a kick. Is there something I can do? Something I haven't done? Sam Pang. You can imagine how small he felt sitting there amongst all of these greats as it was.
And of course, Campbell Brown was a good one before the game. He really built Brownie up, and I thought, where's he going with this? And then he said, well, mate, they said you were courageous. You couldn't even get halfway across the English Channel. You need to redeem yourself. So he nailed it, Tim. He was outstanding.
We're going to take a break on Triple M Football. On the other side of the break, we forensically examine the article in yesterday's paper, written by Spud Frawley. Let's face it. We're going to have a look at that as well. And we're going to revisit old Loverballs, James Brayshaw, down in Hobart. Remember it a few months ago where he just was just absolutely...
Is that where he is today?
Where is he?
I think it's Darlford, I bet.
I think he might have gone down the Great Ocean Roadway there, Spud. Anyway,
handy.